Hello, and here is today's first two pages. Another absolute, probably one of my favourites of all time. It's not my favourite John Wyndham book. The Chrysalids is my favourite John Wyndham book, but I couldn't find a copy of that. I think it might be up in the loft, so I'll go and dig it out. But Day of the Triffids, I remember reading this in my early to mid-teens, around about the same time as the awesome BBC series came out. There was a dramatisation of it, which was absolutely brilliant. And I do actually have the DVD version of it and watched it with my son a few years ago, and it's every bit as terrifying as it was back in the early 80s. But Day of the Triffids, the interesting thing about a lot of John Wyndham's books is that they're very ordinary people caught in extraordinary circumstances, and often they don't actually have any impact in the end game. So, the Day of the Triffids doesn't have a resolution where humanity wins, but it has a resolution where the characters move forward. It's very interesting in that respect. And it has influenced so many films, things like 28 Days Later, the opening section and that, when there's a completely empty London. Well, that's very much what happens at the beginning of Day of the Triffids. This book's really old, though. It was, I don't know if you can see that, it's 3 and 6. So this is pre-decimalisation. I was born in the year of decimalisation. I was born in 71. So this book is even older than me and is falling to bits a little bit, bless it. So without further ado, I will read the first two pages of the incredible Day of the Triffids by John Wyndham. When a day that you happen to know as Wednesday starts off by sounding like a Sunday, there's something seriously wrong somewhere. I felt that from the moment I awoke. And yet, when I started functioning a little bit more sharply, I misgave. After all, the odds were that it was I who was wrong and not everyone else, though I did not see how that could be. I went on waiting, tinged with doubt, but presently I had my first bit of objective evidence. A distant clock struck with what sounded to me just like 8. I listened hard and suspiciously. Soon another clock began on a loud, decisive note. In a leisurely fashion, it gave me an indisputable 8. Then I knew things were awry. The way I came to miss the end of the world, well, the end of the world I had known for close to 30 years, was sheer accident, like a lot of survival when you come to think of it. In the nature of things, a good many somebodies are always in hospital, and the law of averages had picked on me to be one of them a week or so before. It might just as easily have been the week before that, in which case I'd not be writing now. I'd not be here at all. But chance played, and it was not only that I should be in hospital at that particular time, that by my eyes, and indeed my whole head, should be wreathed in bandages. And that's why I have to be grateful to whomever orders these averages. At the time, however, I was only peevish, wondering what in thunder went on, for I had been in the place long enough to know that, next to the matron, the clock is a most sacred thing in a hospital. Without a clock, the place simply couldn't latch. Each second there was someone consulting on births, deaths, doses, meals, lights, talking, working, sleeping, resting, visiting, dressing, washing. And hitherto it had been decreed that someone should begin to wash and tidy me up at exactly 3 minutes after 7 a.m. That was one of the best reasons I had for appreciating a private room. In the public wards, the messy proceeding would have taken place a whole unnecessary hour earlier. But here, today, clocks of varying reliability were continuing to strike 8 in all directions, and still nobody had shown up. Much as I disliked the sponging process, and useless as it had been to suggest that the help of a guiding hand as far as a bathroom could eliminate it, its failure to occur was highly disconcerting. Besides, it was normally a close forerunner of breakfast, and I was feeling hungry. Probably I would have been aggrieved about it in any morning, but today, this Wednesday, 8th of May, was an occasion of particular personal importance. I was doubly anxious to get all the fuss and routine over because that was the day they were going to take off my bandages. I groped around a bit to find the bell push and let them have a good full 5 seconds clatter just to show what I was thinking of them. While I was waiting for the pretty short-tempered response that such appeal ought to bring, I went on listening. The day outside, I realised now, was sounding even more wrong than I had thought. The noises it made, or failed to make, more like Sunday than Sunday itself. And I'd come round again to being absolutely assured that this was Wednesday, whatever else had happened to it. Why the founders of St Mary's Hospital chose to erect their institution at a main road crossing on a valuable office site, and thus expose their patients' nerves to constant laceration, is a foible that I would never properly understood. But for those fortunate enough to be suffering from complaints unaffected by the wear and tear of continuous traffic, did have the advantage that one could lie abed and still not be out of touch, so to speak, with the flow of life. Customarily, the westbound buses thundered along trying to beat the lights at the corner. As often as not, a pig squeal of brakes and a salvo of shots from the silencer would tell that they hadn't. It's a fabulous opening because it leaves the reader just in what's going on. So, you know, you've got a protagonist who is effectively blind, and that sense of fear and claustrophobia is quite palpable as that chapter develops and we begin to understand exactly what's happened. It is a classic. If you're going to watch any TV movie versions of it, please watch the BBC version with John Turteen that came out in about mid-80s, I think it was. So I've got it on DVD myself. It's 6 parts and it is phenomenal, and you can almost follow it in the book. It's a very, very faithful retelling of the book. But the Howard Keel film from the 1960s, and I think there was a retelling of it recently, actually, don't do that. BBC series, or obviously read the book. It is amazing. It's very, very clever, and was probably the first grown-up book I ever read. It's the first kind of adult read I ever did, and I have loved all of John Wyndham's works ever since. I think I've read every single thing that he has written, including all of his short stories as well. So Day of the Triffids, brilliant. John Wyndham, check it out. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that was entertaining and useful. If it is, you can give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of these things. Thank you very much. Stay well, keep safe, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye for now.